Hello, Gummers, and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine, and I am joined in a rotating schedule of co-hosts this week. It isn't Mr. Paul Cropper, he's away, he's on holiday. It isn't Mr. Danny Simpson, who you'll have seen previously. It is the original crew. It's Ahmad Dohair, everyone. How you doing, mate?
Good, good. Missed coming on, speaking to you guys, sharing our thoughts.
Back.
Yeah,
It's exciting. It's exciting to see you again. I mean, we've just gone straight into it. We barely said hello or what we've been up to, but we're back. We're recording. It's good to see that you're still sporting the Manchester United tops. It's all good, mate. From the view that I've got of you as well, it's very much like I'm looking at Ruben Amorim, which is probably a bit
suit.
much right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I say that obviously because we're coming off the back of the 4-2 preseason friendly defeat. Manchester United got thumped in that second half against Ruben Amorim's AC Milan. Bit of a disaster, but we move on. It's only preseason after all. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to dissect what our predictions are for the season that's coming up, 26-27 season. Michael Carrick and his charges, what can we expect from them? What are they going to be able to do this season? Where they might fall down? And I guess aspirations is probably the best way to describe it. But the first thing that I want to talk to you about is a little bit about the squad assessment, mate. We've made some signings. We've got the big one, Carl Darlow. We brought in Tynan Thompson from Spurs, and we've also got Andre Santos from Chelsea and Yuri Tillemans from Aston Villa. So the first question to you, Ahmad, is that good enough? Is that strong enough to start the season with?
Depends what we're aiming to do. If we're aiming to cement our place in the top four, top three, then yeah, I think these are very good additions to the squad. If we want to go deep into the cup competitions as well, Champions League, FA Cup, I think we have enough, but I can't help but feel that we would be missing a chance to aim even further by adding more signings. I still think we're a couple of players short, but yeah, let's see if anything happens in the next few weeks.
Well, from what you've seen, obviously from pre-season and what we saw last season as well, are there any specific areas of the team right now that you're looking at and going, "Oof, we're a bit short there"?
Yeah, definitely. I think the obvious ones that stand out are left back for sure. I don't think we can depend on Luke Shaw for the whole season, especially the fact that we're going to be playing multiple competitions, not like last season. And of course, the big one, midfield. I think we're okay, but we just like a little bit of depth and legs. I think the game yesterday showed that we were lacking a lot of that. I think everyone felt that it would be a given that we would be signing someone with legs, especially with Casemiro leaving. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the philosophy has been changing. They're aiming for something different in terms of style of play, and that's why they haven't been pressing much in terms of that position. But I still think we're lacking a lot of mobility in that midfield.
I think it looked yesterday as though against AC Milan, it looked like they were very leggy in there. It looked like they hadn't got quite back to match fitness, which you can understand. It's pre-season; some of them have just returned, but it did look like they were trying things in the game that just weren't coming off. Andre Santos tried a couple of passes. Yuri Tillemans was doing the exact same thing. I think Bruno had a few where if he was a couple of matches sharper, he probably would have pulled it off. But yeah, there was a couple of moments in the game where I looked at what Andre Santos was doing and I looked at what Tielemans was doing, getting caught in possession and losing the ball, and then the centre backs fall into bits. I think midfield is a big one, but for me, and left back, obviously, for me, I think centre back is still an issue. I think it's still an issue. I think we've still got boys to come back. Obviously, we've still got Lisandro Martinez and we've got Matheus Cunha to come back. But Harry Maguire, apart from his goal yesterday, he still looked like he'd lost the yard of pace, which he never really had in the first place. Aiden Heaven, not quite ready to be first choice at centre back yet. Lenny Yoro is being used out on the right. Is he got a place at centre back? Can he be the starting centre back this season? I'm not sure. I still think we probably need another centre back, but maybe I'm wrong about that. What's your assessment on the back line?
I think we have just enough to pull through this season in terms of center backs. I think the natural progression would be for Lenny Yoro to step up, for Aiden Heaven to get more minutes. I think Lisandro, I think we can depend on him if he does not get injured. But yesterday when he came on, he looked very rusty, but it's understandable. For me, Maguire, I have nothing bad to say about him. He would be my starting center back every single game if he's fit. He gives the team a lot, honestly. I know he's not the quickest, but I think when he's not playing, you can sense that there's something missing. De Ligt, I'm not sure how he's going to come back from his injury. So yeah, I think center back is a concern, but it's not something that we would be addressing this summer. Maybe next summer, yeah, we should start looking into that. But I think we have just enough.
I think Manchester United are probably looking at two more signings, I would say, if they are going to do any more business. I think it's those two areas that you talked about as well, left back and central midfield. I think the obvious one is probably going to be Lewis Hall, which I expect to go down to the wire. I think it will take a lot of money to try and pry him away from Newcastle because they don't have to sell him. But who would be your choice in those positions? I guess Lewis Hall would be one of them. But then if we're talking about centre midfield as well, Carlos Baliba's potentially injured for the next 4 or 5 weeks, so he might not be the one that comes in. But are there two players that you would identify for this squad for the season upcoming?
In terms of left back, I would love Lewis Hall, of course. I think all of us would, but it's looking tough. So I would honestly go for Miles Lewis Kelly without even thinking twice. He's available. I know he's not going to be cheap, but he's a player that can add a lot to the team. He's good at left back, and he can, if you want to put him in midfield, honestly, like we saw last season, towards the end of it, when he came into the team with Arsenal, he was starting. He was playing really really well, and he's still young, so there's, I think, way more levels for him to go. So I would get Matheus Cunha because he can cover both positions, and I think like for me, my midfielder would be still Carlos Baleba. I know he's injured 4 or 5 weeks. It's not that long of a period. It's not a muscle injury, which is good. It's just a foot injury, and I think he would add a lot to the team. So for me, those two players, they're gettable. They're not going to be cheap, but this is the market now. It's crazy, but they would add a whole new dynamic to the team that we really need. And if those two players come in, you would be talking about the team in a different light.
I was going to ask you actually because we haven't talked about this on air. We've talked about it plenty on WhatsApp. But how did you feel when Matheus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali went to Spurs? Did you think it was a missed opportunity from United, or do you think they actually played it safe and didn't bend to the valuation of those players?
Bit of both, honestly, because at the time it was still the beginning of the summer, and the prices looked like they're way too steep for us to pay. But then as the summer went on, and you're looking at players like, I don't know, Elliot Anderson going for 160 million, you're looking at Morgan Rogers going for even more than that, 120 almost. So then maybe Matheus Fernandes, I would say maybe he was a missed opportunity. Tonali, I love, but I don't think he's worth that much money. But Matheus Fernandes, yeah, I think I would have paid the money for him, especially that he actually wanted to come, and that he's a player that can grow into one of those, stalwart midfielders that you can depend on for the next 10 years. So yeah, I don't know. Fernandes was a missed chance, but the players we got instead, I also think they're good.
I think you're right. I think Mateus Fernandes did obviously want to go to Manchester United, but I would argue as well. I think he just wanted to go wherever wasn't West Ham United. I think that was his big thing. He just wanted out of there, and Spurs have basically weighed him in with the amount of salary that they've given him. A reported 180,000 a week or 150,000 a week, which is insane considering what he was on at West Ham. But yeah, I don't. I question whether he was destined to go to Manchester United or whether he just wanted to to leave and go wherever he was going to get paid the most. So I'm not entirely, I'm not unhappy about those two moves. I think Tielemans is really good. It's a savvy move from Ineos. It's not Elliot Anderson, who we thought we was going to get towards the end of last season. But I think what he brings is a professionalism that you're probably just not going to get from other players. Like even on the international stage, he's been there, he's done it. He's got lots of Champions League experience as well. I think he's going to turn out to be one of the signings of the summer across the league entirely. And obviously, we had Danny Simpson on recently, and he was talking about the fact that he was there that January to May when Yuri Tillemans came in on loan at Leicester City. And one of the big things that he said, and I've said this many times on the show before, was that Tielemans is like a model professional in the guise of Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of first one in, last one out at training, his work in the gym, his professionalism. Like he's a born winner. And I hadn't really thought about it before, and I'm going to ask you this same sort of question as well. But Danny was saying he hasn't signed for Manchester United to play from the bench. And for me, at first, I was like, what, really? No, surely he's going to be used in squad rotation. But where do you see Yuri Tillemans fitting in? Is he? We'll talk about the Carrick starting lineup for the season soon. But is that? Do you see Tielemans as a starter for United, and then it's a question of who fits around him?
Yeah, 100%. For me, Tielemans is he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Simple as that. I mean, he should manage the load because he's like, I don't think he's the kind of player that can handle maybe 2 games a week or 3 games a week, which is understandable. But when you want to put out your best 11, he's one of the first names on there. He offers something that I don't think we have any other player that can offer. Controlling the game, slowing down the game, speeding up the game, and I think he's actually underrated defensively as well. He's not as splashy in terms of like he doesn't go into tackles and these things, but he just covers the spaces properly, cuts passing lanes, and these are the things you need. And I think as the season goes on, people are when they watch Tielemans and when they watch United, they're gonna realize that we've actually been missing that for the past few years, and I don't think anyone else like from the other midfielders can do what he does. So for me, it's a no-brainer. He starts.
I think it's going to be fair to say that he's going to be in there alongside either Kobe Mainu, Andre Santos, or Mason Mount, whoever Michael Carrick decides is the best partner for him with the season moving on. Just when you're talking about Yuri Tillemans there, you're saying that Manchester United haven't had that type of player for a while, and you're saying that he's a specialist in that area, which you're absolutely correct to say so. One thing that I have noticed about Manchester United's team is that we're not flush with specialists. We have a lot of players, and it's probably one of the reasons why Lewis Skelly is one of the type of players that Manchester United are looking for, because he can play in multiple positions. If you look across that squad, we've got a lot of players that can play in multiple positions rather than this player plays here and is very good at it. I don't know whether that dilutes a team or whether that's just modern football. It's like if you look at if I go specialist, Harry Maguire is a specialist centre back. Yeah, you're not going to play him at left back or right back. It's unlikely unless you're in the not Conference League. What was the one? Europa League semi-finals, and he pops up as a winger. You know, it's unlikely you're going to do that every game. But you've got Maguire that does that, specialist. Then you've got midfield. Can't really say since Casemiro's gone that you've got a central midfielder that is a specialist in midfield, because Kobe can play in multiple positions as well. But obviously Tielemans, as you just mentioned there. And then you've got players like Cunha, and Bumo, Ahmad, Bruno. They're all players that can play all over the place. And I don't know if it's just me thinking we need more specialists or if it's just modern football and everyone should be fluid like that. But do you think that could be a hindrance, or do you think that's a positive for Manchester United?
I think if you look at how football has been going for the past 5, 6, 7, even more, for the past for the past years, yeah, you can see that it's been going towards that trajectory. Because even if you look back at, for example, Man City with Guardiola, even his early stages, not even I'm not even going to talk about, for example, Guardiola playing left back. I'm just going to say, for example, Bernardo Silva. You need some of those players in your team. Like some games you play him on the right wing, some games center midfield. Even like for example, they had Fabian Delph. He was a midfielder who turned into a left back. Like you need those players in your team, but I agree that too much of it is not good, because then okay, you would be a good team, but you wouldn't be that team that can actually go for everything. For example, if you look at who's dominating now, PSG, you wouldn't say they have many of those players. Many of their
Mm.
players are specialists, like you say. If you look at Dembele, okay, he can play like multiple positions, but he's a forward eventually. He doesn't drop back. Their midfield, they're all specialists in what they do. You can't ask someone to play in any different position. Central backs, Marquinhos, Pacho, you cannot ask them to play any other position. So Hakimi, for example. So yeah, I think you need those players, but it's difficult because it depends on how many leagues you're playing as well. Like when you're in multiple competitions, you're playing 60 games a season. You cannot depend
Mhm.
on. You cannot have, for example, three specialist right wingers. You can't. You just can't. Like you can't have like two holding midfielders. I don't know. It's tough. But I think they're building. I think Ineos are building a good squad. I would say that they're building like a balanced squad that can give you different options, which is good to have.
One thing, the last thing that we'll talk about on this, the squad assessment side of things and signings as well. I think Manchester United will make new signings, but what I'm more excited about is seeing this current crop of youth players coming through from the academy. Are there any players specifically that you're looking forward to seeing more of this season, and that you're tipping for making the first team this year?
Yeah, I think the obvious one is Shea Lisi. He's already been into the team in and out last season, but I think yeah, I think he has a lot to give to the team. I wouldn't worry if see him starting, for example, in certain games in the Premier League or coming on for the last 30 minutes. I wouldn't worry because I know he has what it takes to perform at that level. I think another one I was hoping to see more of in preseason was Jim Thwaites, but we haven't. I don't know if he's injured or anything. I'm not sure. But yeah, Jim Thwaites, I think he would have given us an option also in midfield, and he looks really, really good for the under 21s.
I think he has been staying with the under 21s for a specific reason. I think they still want to give him a taste of what it's like to go on tour with the first team, as they did with JJ Gabriel as well. But I think in terms of being ready to play for Manchester United, he might just be a little bit off right now. So it might be a case of needs must, though. They may need, if they don't buy another midfielder, they may need to bring in more options, and Jim Thwaites may get his opportunity then. I know it's the Fletcher twins right now that are the ones that are filling those gaps, but Jim's still there, and Mr. Paul Cropper rates him very highly as well. So I think he might get a chance. There is one player, and I'll save it until later. There's one player that I am backing to get into this first team. A little bit of a left field shout, but I will reveal that later. But next, we are going to talk about Carrick's starting 11 and how that may evolve as the season moves on. Okay, let's have a look at Michael Carrick's starting 11. We're probably going to look at how it will start against Hull coming up this week, coming up on Saturday, first game of the season. And then we'll talk about how we think that will evolve with players coming back from injury and form and things like that. So we'll start with you, obviously, Ahmad. You're the guest. You can go first. But just how you think Carrick will start on Saturday, and then we can talk about how that might evolve. So, Carl Darlow in nets, yeah?
Yeah. Does he exist? I haven't seen him. Like he just signed and he disappeared.
In-
Yeah. Yeah, of course, the obvious one is Lemons and Gold. I think Dallo starts for sure. Yeah, it's between him and Mazrari, but I think Dallo gets the nod. Central backs, Maguire, and I would go Heaven. I
okay.
think he's played the most minutes preseason. He's been doing well. and left back Luke Shaw, no one
Mhm.
else. Midfield is where it's a bit interesting, but I think for Hull, based on like again the minutes and the rhythm that the players are in, I think it would be Andre Santos. He's been doing really well in preseason as well. And Tielemans. I think Tielemans played. Did he play 90 minutes last night? I'm not sure. I think he did.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's just preparing them for this game. So it's Santos and Tielemans in midfield. Kobe, I don't think he's still up to it. Not yet. And of course, Bruno on the right, Ahmad. I'm expecting a big season from Ahmad as well. Up top, Mbuemo. On the left, Cunha.
I think that's pretty much what I had it down as well. The only difference that I had in my team was that I wasn't sure whether or not Santos would be dropped in favour of Kobe Mainu. I know obviously they're getting sharp and they're bringing they need to get up to match fitness, but I've got a feeling that Michael Carrick trusts Kobe Mainu even without seeing him for 3 or 4 games of pre-season. I think there was a rumour that Mainu might be playing in a midweek game behind closed doors to get match fitness up again. So yeah, I'm torn between Santos and Mainu. It's hard to say that Santos doesn't deserve to start against Hull. He's played in every game and he's looked decent. I thought he looked shaky yesterday alongside Tielemans, and that was a slight worry for me. They didn't seem to have that like cooperation, the
Yeah.
telepathy together. It was very much a, oh, what are you doing now? Well, I'm going to stand there. I'm not sure where you're going, but I'll be here. And you can see it between Tielemans and Bruno. You can see they've got that understanding going. And I think between Santos and Mount, until he got injured, they had that understanding as well, and they was working well together. So that's why I've still just got that small doubt about um, whether Santos will play or not. The big worry for me is obviously we played Cunha up top yesterday, and again going back to our lack of specialists. Sesko's been out for such a long time. I'm I'm concerned about this shin injury. We can see that he's back. He's been on the pitch, on the training pitch, but I am worried how long it's going to be before he does get into that first team again. And as you said, I think it's probably Brian and Bumo that's going to be the starting striker there. But Sesko, are there any concerns there? Is he just needs a bit of time to get back? What's your assessment of it?
Not sure what the injury is because when they said it's a shin, I don't think anyone imagined that it would keep him out for this long. Like shin injury is usually, I don't think it's more like
Mm.
it's not a major muscle that would keep you out for an extended period. So I'm not sure. He's back in training, which is good. He's been training for the past 2 weeks. I think he's gonna be on the bench for Hull. I think he can get some minutes, but uh, last season he didn't start off up quick. Like he also needed time to get into the rhythm, and it looks like it's gonna be the same this season, which is unfortunate. Um, so yeah, I think we're gonna have to depend on Buemo and if Zirkzee is still here, also he's an option. Like he's also been doing well, and Cunha can offer. I don't like Cunha in the striker position, not at all. I don't think he. I don't think his game suits it, especially the way we
Mm.
play. So yeah, it's just gonna have to be Buemo, maybe until Sesko comes back.
There is another option, the man, the myth, the legend that is Marcus Rashford. He
Uh,
can play left wing and he can also play up front as well. Do you think that that might be an option for Michael Carrick this season to play him as a number 9?
I think it's an option, but just like last resort. If I don't have anything else, I mean, he can do a job, but he's. I wouldn't. I don't like. I never liked him there. I never ever liked him, even when he was here and he was in form. Even I think he never was. He could never do what he wants to do when he's playing up front.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's an option, but I wouldn't play him. No.
So obviously that's the whole game, and I think based on preseason form, as you rightly pointed out, that's probably the most sensible starting 11 that we're going to get out of Michael Carrick for this opening game. As the season moves on, though, are there players within that first 11 that you just mentioned there that are going to be shunted out? And if so, who are those players likely to be?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. I wouldn't
I
say they
think
would.
for me, just I'll help you out with
Yeah,
this a
go
little
on.
bit because I kind of just sprung it on you. But I think Matthias De Ligt and Martinez become the first choice partnership at centre back. I think that's what will happen, barring any injuries from them. I think Harry Maguire will kind of keep everything warm and ticking over. But there was a few issues. Like I said, I'm not one to bash on Harry Maguire. I thought he did fantastic last season, but yesterday that mistake that he made with was it Andre Santos that tripped over him, and it was a bit bit comical and a bit slow and a bit laboured. But I think it's down to De Ligt and Martinez to own that position. I think they'll probably be the starting centre backs. Aiden Heaven will obviously have the chance to prove himself. I didn't think he had the best game yesterday. I thought he was caught napping a couple of times. And Lenny Yoro, again, Manchester United trying him in a different position at right back, trying to see what he can do out there. And didn't look natural doing the right back position either. But I think for me, it's going to be De Ligt and Martinez as the centre back pairing, and then it's going to be between Dalot and Mazraoui. I think Dalot for the league, maybe Mazraoui for Champions League and the cups. I'm not sure. I think Dalot's probably just edges it for his attacking threat.
In terms of center backs, I think Delicta and Martinez, you can play them when you want to play a low block. Okay, like they would be even Maguire. But I think you always need, especially the way you want to play and you want to dominate the game, you want to have the ball. You need someone. You need either Lenny Yoro or Aiden Heaven. You need one of those starting that center back alongside Maguire, alongside Delict, alongside Desandro. So yeah, like to answer your question, if they're going to be shunned out, I don't think anyone is going to be shunned out as much as just rotated depending on what the game needs.
Are you saying that you need a Heaven and a Yoro because of the pace that they have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm not. If you're controlling a game, then you shouldn't need recovery pace anyway. I think if you're controlling a game, you can get the ball off your defenders to the midfielders and just pass it around as you need to. I think where Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro are lacking is their ability to play passes. I don't think when the ball comes to them, you saw it with De Ligt before he got injured last season, the way he's able to bring the ball out. He can carry the ball and he can play a pass. Martinez, obviously, it's well documented. His long searching pass is outstanding. You can see that Aiden Heaven is trying to learn that move. You can see Harry Maguire's been training for it as well. But yeah, I think look, Michael Carrick will have his decisions to make. But I think if it came push to shove for me, it will be De Ligt and Martinez. I think they've got the perfect balance between them in terms of controlling a game from the back. And then Luke Shaw is obviously the one that's in trouble if Lewis Hall comes in, because that will mean Shaw will probably move to a centre back role makeshift and then cup run in the cups. You'll play Shaw in certain games. I think it'll be him and Lewis Hall. I'm talking about a player we haven't even signed yet. But I think it'll be him and Lewis Hall that would be rotating in and out. When I say shunted, that's aggressive language. What I mean is who's going to be the first choice after a while.
Yeah, I think if Lewis Hall comes in, you wouldn't be expecting Shaw to be the one starting all the games. But yeah, Shaw is still is he's always going to be a good option. But we saw even yesterday, like the two goals that came quick succession, they were down that side. He's not he doesn't have the legs for it anymore. You need someone, especially left back position, even going forward, running back. You need someone with legs. So if it's not Luis Hall, I don't know who it is. I don't know what happened to, for example, Diego Leon. Like sometimes these positions you don't need to go out and spend like 80 and 90 million on a player. Why? I don't get why it's tough for us to bring players through and for them to have a starting spot. Like okay, Kobe has done it. That's the only one I can think of for the past, I don't know, 10 years. Or Marcus Rashford, yeah. But yeah, I think we're struggling in that department. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it was one of the things that I've been banging on about for the longest time, saying that left back seemed to be the most sturdy position that Manchester United have in terms of the players that they've got that could potentially come in. Diego Leon, as you mentioned before, is AWOL. I'm sure Manchester United know where he is, but the fans certainly don't. And then you've got the Dorgu was there, Harry Mas, who's been hawked around at the moment, trying to sell him or get him out on loan. Who else was there at left back? I mean, Martinez can play there at a pinch if you need to. Dallo can play on that side. I just thought it was a position that looked okay, and then you look at it yesterday and you're like, oof, all right, fair, fair. Yeah, 80 million loose all. Bring him in. Let's see what we can do. Moving further up the field, the three that I would think would eventually become Michael Carrick's starting 11 in terms of the midfield trio is Mainu, Tielemans, and Fernandes. I think that's probably the triangle that Carrick would want. But I'm interested in what your assessment would be of that. Do you think that that's too? Do you think that that doesn't have enough legs? Do you think that that's what do you? What's your assessment of that triangle?
It's a good triangle if you're playing against Hull, for example.
We
If
can't
if
play them every week, unfortunately.
unfortunately, watch them beat us next week. But like it's if you wanna if you're capable of controlling the game between those three players, then yeah, it's perfect because the all three of them are the best on the team in terms of keeping the ball moving. But when you're playing against, for example, a bigger team like whatever City or Arsenal, no, there's no chance. You're gonna get run over. Uh, I don't know. Like I say that now, but I can also imagine this trio working against also like bigger clubs if we get to a level of being able to control the game against that level of team. So I wouldn't be against that mm, trio being the one that's okay. We're gonna depend on you guys and just build that understanding and partnership between you guys, and we're gonna depend on you. But I can't help but feel like some games we're gonna be looking at that and then say, "What are we doing? Like, where's the legs in that midfield? Like, there no one. If you even Tielemans we saw yesterday, for example, he's easily run past by Kobe. We've seen that a
Mm,
lot of times. It's nothing. It's not nothing bad against them. It's just it's not their game. You know,
Yeah.
you can't have everything. You know, you can't have every single attribute. So I still think I'm gonna reserve my judgment on that until I see more of them.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think when me and Cropper was on here talking about this last week, I think it was, we were saying that Michael Carrick, like he did at Middlesbrough, he wanted a midfield that could control the ball basically in his mold. You know, the metronome sat at the base, that which would be Tielemans playing it to Mainu, playing these rondos with Fernandez, and then just keeping that ball and then spraying it out to the wings to get forward. It's what Barcelona do really well. It's what PSG do really well. If that was the type of pass masters that you need, those three are probably the best ones. I would argue I didn't really know. I wasn't aware of Andre Santos's game until he came to Manchester United, but he seems capable of breaking the lines as well with his passing. So, I mean, if anyone's should be worried about their position within that triumvirate that I've just mentioned there, it's probably Kobe Mainu. I think he's probably the one that may drop out for Santos. I think Santos is the one that would then come in to do the dog's work and also the passing as well. So let's see. I'm excited. The midfield is miles better than it was last season, put it that way, with just two signings. So I'm happy about that. And it will take time for everything to click, but there's massive potential there. The last few positions that I just wanted to talk about in terms of like what will eventually become the first 11, and Bumo and Cunha as right and left wingers, and then Sesko up front. Now, I'm not comfortable with Matheus Cunha at left wing. I know he's very good at doing a job there, but again, as we've talked about previously, as a specialist, I don't think he has everything that you need week in, week out for that left wing position. And I think we have a bit of an imbalance there.
I think if you wanna play Cunha on the left, you have to have a player like Luis Hall there. Because if you want to play Cunha on the left, you're gonna want him hugging the touchline most of the game, which is not his game. If you have someone like Lewis Hall, Luke Shaw couldn't do it last season. We saw that because like if he goes up, it's very difficult for him to go back.
Mm.
So you need more like a younger player that can actually do that job. But if you get, for example, Lewis Hall, and he can stay there occupying that space, I actually like Cunha because if you put the half space on the left, he's very good in tight spaces, linking up with other players, long shots. So yeah, I wouldn't be against it, but again, like you need someone who can actually cover the proper left wing space, which is left back. If we don't get a left back, then I think we should also consider getting a proper left winger. I'm not saying it has to be someone like who's 90 million, 100 million, but someone who's just that's his job, that they know what to do when they're in that position.
It's Marcus Rashford you're describing there, mate. Like a new signing, as Michael Carrick will have us believe. But yeah, I think he's going to be used a lot on the left wing, but I think it'll be between him and Cunha who will get that starting berth. With that 11 that we just talked about there, and even the ones that we talked about previously that will start at Hull, there's a lot of players that we haven't even mentioned there. Patrick Dorgu, we haven't mentioned. We haven't mentioned like Ahmad, as in the evolution of Michael Carrick's formation. That Joshua Zirkzee, I know he's still at the club. I don't think he's. I know you rate him. I don't think he's good enough to play for Manchester United in that starting 11. And who else? There was another player that I just thought of a second ago, and it was like, oh yeah, he still plays for Manchester United. Well, I guess Shea Lacey is another one that will be trying to get in there. But there's loads of players that Manchester United have in terms of depth now, which at one, it's a happy problem to have. I was going to say it's difficult to keep them all happy, but who cares? That's a great depth of squad that you would have killed for last season, because when you was looking to the bench, it was like, oh, got to play one of these kids or someone that's not at it. So yeah, got to look at it now and see it as a positive, right?
Yeah, no, especially like I'm just remembering the benches that we've had for the past couple of years, 3 4 years. We've had like disasters of benches. If you looked at the bench looking for someone to come on to make a difference, it was crazy. Like we literally had players that we've seen for the first time. So yeah, I think like you said, it's a good problem to have, and I really hope that we're able to put together like a string of runs in the cups, because it can cause a problem when you have a bit of like an bloated squad with a lot of players that can give you a headache, okay, whether they start or not, and you're not in the cups, because then you can't do anything. Like they're not gonna play. So yeah, let's see. It's gonna be an interesting season. Like that's all I can say.
This is basically like an amnesty of the crazy things that we think may happen, not completely crazy, within the realms of reason, but just things that might be a bit left field, but could happen. So I'm going to go first. I'll do this one. I'll kick off here. But one of my predictions is by January, one of Matheus Cunha or Ahmad Diallo will have left the club
Why?
because they haven't been getting game time.
So you mean they would leave in January in the transfer window?
Yep. So that
Oh,
they will either have
that's
gone
tough.
out on loan. Yeah, so that I think either one of them will go out on loan or they'll be sold simply because there's just too much going on and they're not getting a sniff. And I think those two, without having a nailed down position that they play, I think it's very difficult for them to be considered as first names on the team sheet. Because if you look at, we talked about this before, but if you look at where Matheus Cunha plays on left wing and he plays behind the strikers. Bruno Fernandes is never injured, and Rashford is back. And we've also got Patrick Dorgu, who's also playing as a left winger as well. Those are two specialists that will be used to get the ball into the box. I'm not saying Cunha can't do that, And bear in mind, these are just wild things. These aren't to say I want Matheus Cunha or Ahmad to leave the club. But I just think in terms of a wild predictions, a shakiness within the team, I think one of those could end up leaving the club. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, it is a crazy prediction, but I can see actually I can imagine Ahmad being, because he is the kind of player that can kick up a fuss if he's not playing. We've seen a couple of times like glimpses of him posting some vague stuff on social media when
Mhm.
things haven't been going his way. Uh, and like it doesn't seem that he's 100% going to be starting every game because of the options we have. So maybe I think if we, for example, if it goes like south
Yeah.
severely and he's not getting a sniff on the team, I can see him like asking to leave, asking for a loan or anything like that. So it would be interesting. But that would mean that we're doing really well. Like that would
I
mean
mean,
like the other players are actually doing insanely well, to the point that those players are not starting. So I mean it would be bittersweet, I guess.
yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean. It could be like, Manchester United could be the victims of their own success in terms of doing so well across, or Michael Carrick doing so well across lots of different competitions this season that it's impossible to take out, I don't know, Marcus Rashford because he's playing really well at left wing, or to take out Brian Mbeumo from the right side because he's obviously playing well in that position. So just those two, I think, out of everyone in the squad, those two are the ones where I would be like, they might not work. The only thing that I have, or the only thing that I think would swing it more in Matheus Cunha's favour, is he's a recent purchase. So Ineos wouldn't want to see a loss on him straight away, or for him to leave the club straight away. I think Ahmad's probably the more likely one, but we're doing wild predictions, not predictable predictions. So there we go. That's why I'm going with that one. Do you want to throw one in? I believe you've
Yeah.
got a league one rather than a Manchester United one. What have you?
I do have a league one, but I came up like something came to mind in terms of United, because you've been talking about especially the attacking positions. I think Marcus Rashford is gonna score a hat trick against either City or Liverpool.
Oof,
Yeah, I think,
massive.
and then everyone is gonna like forgive him for everything and just sing his name again, and yeah, everything will go back to normal, I guess.
See, it's interesting actually because I feel like we talked about this many a time on the podcast. We've talked about it in our WhatsApp group many a times as well. It does feel like Marcus Rashford has to do something major for everyone to get back on board again. Maybe that's unfair to say. Maybe it's a fair thing to say after him saying that he wanted to leave the club and he made it very clear that he didn't want to be at Old Trafford anymore. But I do think that type of performance, as you say, if he did score a hat trick against Liverpool or Manchester City, and he's running over to the crowd and he's cupping his ears and giving it the big I am, it could be just what he needs to get his career back on track at Manchester United and maybe stay the distance, see out his contract, maybe get a new contract. Who knows? But would he get a hat trick for Manchester United against Liverpool or Manchester City? Oof. Would he
Why not?
start? Would he
Yeah,
start against
yeah, you
those?
never
That's
know.
the
You
thing.
never know. He's Marcus Rashford is a lot of things, good and bad. But I think what he's proven over the past few years, even when he was out on loan, even with Villa, even with Barca, that he's a big game player. He is. He's that. When he's hyped up for a game, he shows a different level. And when he's in the mood, he's in the mood. Like
Mm.
honestly, I hope. I know we. I don't know. It's like a love-hate relationship with Rashford for me. Maybe it is for you as well. But
No, no.
he's still a player that I've watched, grow up. Like I've watched come in. I want him to do well with us. I would love nothing more than like Rashford winning the league with United, winning like a major competition with United, being one of the main players. I think he went through stuff that we don't know about in his personal life, and it's not like it was all his fault because
Yeah.
the club isn't stable. It wasn't stable for a long time with the change of managers, change of ownership, change of players. So maybe he got affected by that. I hope that maybe these loans helped him and he comes back, he shows uh, like what he can do and the level we know that he can achieve and contribute to something major that we do for in the maybe this season, next season, whatever. But yeah, no, I hope he does well if he stays.
I think the one of the issues is that there's no smoke without fire, and obviously I don't know the ins and outs of things, but I do know what I've heard from people that have worked with him out here in Dubai. You know, when they've been on the preseason tour with Manchester United, and he doesn't come off in the best light at all. I think he was very much affected by the being the star boy of Manchester United, and maybe let that go to his head. But he's returning to Manchester United after being away for so long, having grown up as a person, as a man, having seen different things, different styles at like Barcelona, at Aston Villa. He's been in Europe for this amount of time. He went to the World Cup. Maybe he's coming back with a bit more of an idea of, do you know what? I did miss this, and this is what I want, and things could change. But there are things that did happen off the pitch that didn't colour him in a great light. So if you can get rid of those, then I'm all for it. And I will always cheer for any player in a Manchester United shirt, even Angel Di Maria. You know, not now, not if he came back, but back then I was cheering for him, even when his house was robbed and he was saying, and his wife and him were saying that they wanted to leave. Yeah, let's hope it does work out for him. My other one, wild prediction for you, is that, are you ready for this one? I think Harry Amas will become Manchester United's starting left back before the end of the season.
Interesting.
Stunned silence. Stunned silence from Ahmad there, looking off into the distance, ready to hang this call up. No, but I think in terms of, again, it's a prediction. It's just
Yeah.
a wild one. I'm not even basing this on anything other than like my own personal fantasy about what's going to happen for Manchester United this season. This is not based in logic because they are trying to get him out of the club actively, trying to get
Exactly.
rid of him right now, trying to get rid of him back now. But I've just got this feeling like it's only a very small one, a very slight one, but I just think that the cost of bringing another player in at left back is going to stop Manchester United purchasing someone. I think they'll use that money to bring in a midfielder instead. And I think Harry Amas will be kept around the club and he will be given an opportunity to try and prove himself. Now, whether this comes from an injury to Luke Shaw, God forbid that happens. We don't want anything to happen to Luke Shaw. He managed a flawless season last year. But I've just got a feeling that if he was to go out of the team for whatever reason, and Manchester United still haven't purchased a Lewis Hall, or they still haven't purchased a Miles Lewis-Skelly, Harry Amas will go into that team and people will be like, wow, he's actually very decent. And Luke Shaw will find it difficult to get back in again. So there we go.
It's very interesting, and again, it's a very left field shout, but
On left back shout, mate, not left
yeah.
field. But yeah, I think I really like Harry Amas, and I think when we first started doing this, we talked about him coming through the team, the Luke Shaw regen. We thought he was going to be in the side by now. I'm sure we had that conversation many a year ago, and I still, part of me still wants to believe that he does have a future at Manchester United. So maybe that's what I'm basing this on.
From the things I've seen from him in this preseason, unfortunately, I don't think he's at that level. Yeah, I don't think he's at. I get why they're trying to like sell him, but I don't agree that we should be selling for the price that we've been quoted. But I do get why we won't ever depend on him. I don't know. He's lacking something. I don't know what it is, but he's lacking something to be Manchester United's left back. I don't think he has what it takes.
Do you know what it is though? Right, players like you said before about how long has it been since we brought one of our own through that's been in the first team squad. Obviously, we talked about Marcus Rashford before as being one, and then Kobbie Mainoo being the other. But players like Lewis Hall, players like Elliot Anderson, players like Miles Lewis Skelly were all thought to be not good enough, but they were given an opportunity to play and get better at the club that they was in the youth system for. So Chelsea tried him out. He was a midfielder, Lewis Hall, to begin with. Um, Graham Potter moved him to left back, and then Newcastle were like, "Oh, we'll have a bit of that," because he was not going to get the first team opportunity at Chelsea. Elliot Anderson again was at Newcastle, then went to Forest, but these players were given an opportunity to try and prove themselves. A lot of people wrote Kobbie Mainoo off when he first burst onto the scene, saying that he wasn't quite ready for it. A lot of people thought that the same thing about Rashford. Oh, he's on. Who's this kid that we got on the bench? Do you know what I mean? How's he going to do? Oh, he scored in every debut he's made, in every competition he's made. I think you Michael Carrick is that type of manager that will give youth a chance, and I think Harry Mass might be one of these players that benefits from that. But it's only if they don't buy him with a left back.
Yeah, but don't you think it's a bit fishy that we've never ever heard of a Premier League team being interested in, for example, buying him or getting him on loan?
Because he's never played. He's never played at the top level in that way. I think
He was in the championship for the whole season last season.
but well, he was he was in the championship for the first part of the season with Sheffield Wednesday, where he was getting Player of the Month awards for a
Yeah,
team that was ultimately relegated because they were in so much financial debt that they had so many points deducted. They're now in League One. Who no one's watching League One. And then he went to Norwich, I think, for the second part, got
I got
injured.
injured. Yeah,
Yeah, and then he was back at Manchester United. In fact, I think he did his recuperation at Carrow Road. I think he stayed at Norwich for a fair few months anyway. But I wouldn't say that that's a mark of why he's not good enough to play for any other Premier League team. I think it's a case of these things just happening all at once, like a domino effect. But for people to see that he is capable of playing in the Premier League, he needs to play in the Premier League, right? And he
yeah,
hasn't really done that yet.
yeah.
So,
Really.
so I don't know. I don't know. But there we go. Two wild predictions. The first one is I reckon Matheus Cunha or Ahmad Diallo will leave in January. And I also believe that Harry Mass will be United's starting left back before the season ends. So two mad ones. You had a Premier League one, didn't you?
Yeah, it's
How
actually
how wild how wild is it?
no,
Or
it's
is
it's
it a
actually
logical one?
it's actually like really wild.
Go
I
on.
think I think Spurs are gonna finish above Arsenal this season.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I
Wow.
mean, okay, like there's maybe 10% chance of that happening, but I think we can see it happening. If some stuff
Do,
happen, then it can happen.
do you want my prediction on Spurs? Because I did talk about this the other day.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to implode before
Yeah,
before
that
January. Before January, Roberto De Zerbi is going to leave, and it's all
yeah.
going to be an absolute a costly mess, which leaves them languishing in mid-table.
I hope
That's what
so.
I'm saying. Fair. That is fair. We were gonna do another segment, a separate segment on this, but we might as well just roll straight into it because we are talking about predictions right now. But one of the ones I wanted to go on to, and these are based in reality and what we think we're going to see. I wanted to ask who you think might be both the top goal scorer this season and who you think our player of the season might be. So I've got my top goal scorer prediction here, but you must have one. You've got one.
Yeah, I think
Xerxes, right?
if he plays, yeah, he can because the guy I love Xerxes. I actually I really love Xerxes. No, I know you know that, but just it's a bit sad that we're not playing to his strengths. But I think Sesko. I think Sesko has it in him. I think last season he was in and out of the team, but he still managed to score a lot of goals.
Mhm.
I think this season, he- I hope he hits the ground running once he's back from his injury, and I think I think he can score easily 20 goals. So yeah, I think Sesko for me.
Okay. I think Brian Mbumo is going to be the top goal scorer this season. I think he's most likely because he's going to have to play in that number 9 role as well for a few games. I think Michael Carrick's looked at it and gone, right, who's going to be, if Sesko is out, who's going to be my first choice to play there? And he's looked at Cunha yesterday. He had a look at him a few times at the end of last season as well. And I think he reckons Brian Mbumo is the person that's going to be the starting striker if Sesko is out. There's plenty of time left, and I agree with you. I really wanted it to work out with Joshua Zirkzee, but we're not a team, or Manchester United are not a team that is built around his skill set. He needs to be in a team that is built around him, and not the other way around. So it's a difficult one for him. But Sesko or Mbumo, yeah, can't argue with those two at all. Any dark horses in there that you might think might pop up with more goals than we're letting on right now? I've got a feeling Bruno might go the other way this season and start banging them in.
You think so? Yeah, maybe, especially with him having yeah, Tielemans behind him, Santos, like sweeping up Kobe another season. So yeah, maybe Bruno, but for me, yeah, I think I think Ahmad. I think Ahmad. I'm expecting a good season from Ahmad as well. He's
Rashford, even
yeah,
Rashford could be one.
Rashford. The thing is, it's not clear. Like maybe if we have this conversation in 2 weeks, maybe I would be saying something different. Because as long I still I'm not sure if Rashford's gonna stay. I still think there's a chance he leaves. But yeah, I think Ahmad has looked sharp in preseason. I liked his World Cup. He was really good as well. And if, like you say, Mbuemo was gonna play up front a lot of games, then it's gonna be on the right. So yeah, I think Ahmad for me.
Yeah, fair. And player of the season,
Yeah, it has to be Bruno.
you
Bruno
think?
still Bruno for Bruno.
Okay.
You?
I don't know. It was a toss up between. I was thinking someone like Senna Lamans might be because I think it's if we don't sort that defense out, we're going to be relying on him quite a lot
We did last
this
night.
season. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, apart from Bruno, who would be the obvious choice for that, I think someone like Tielemans might be up for player of the season, just in terms of what he can offer. If he realizes his full potential playing for Manchester United and being able to do what he did at Villa, what he did at was it Royal Antwerp? No, Anderlecht.
Underdog.
What he did at Anderlecht. You know, all of these teams, even at Leicester as well. If he can provide us with another step up in terms of that midfield, I think he could be another little shout for player of the
Yeah,
season.
I agree.
Last question. You ready for it? It's on the sheet, so you should know what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Will Carrick last the season at Manchester United?
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
think I don't think Ineos can afford another sacking this early. There's no chance.
But
Especially like
interestingly though, you say that they can't afford another sacking, but I feel like the way that they got Carrick in, I don't think he's on one of those mega money contracts and not buyout clauses,
yeah,
but like,
I agree.
severance packages. I think he'll be on something that's far more palatable for Ineos. If things do go the wrong way, they can just basically turn around to him and go, right, you're off. Will he last the season? Do I think he'll last the season? Yes, but I think it purely depends on if Manchester United make it to Champions League qualification stages again. Sorry, in terms of like top 4, top 5, whatever it is. If it looks like it's about to fail, I think he'll be gone.
Yeah, but the thing is like there's no one to bring in right now, honestly.
Wayne
I think
Rooney.
why?
Don't know. Wild prediction, mate. I'm
All right.
just throwing them
Okay.
out there. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. No, not a chance. Not a chance, Wayne Rooney. Have we? I know we don't. We rarely talk about other programs and shows and YouTube channels and podcasts and things like that on here. But the Wayne Rooney, Mark Goldbridge thing. What we thinking about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I I know it's controversial, but I actually like Michael Carrick. I think. Yeah. I know we
Raises
spoke.
raises both eyebrows there.
Yeah.
That from me. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I just think like above all, I respect what how he built himself up
Yeah.
from that level, from how he started to the point where he has a show with Wayne Rooney, which is insane. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. Honestly, I love listening to Rooney, especially the past few months. I think he actually worked hard on himself, especially when you see him in the like punditry in the media. At
Hmm.
first, he seemed a bit, like shaky. Sometimes not. You feel like there's something off, but yeah, I think he worked on himself. He's looking better as well, which is great. I'm really happy for that.
It's
And
it's almost like night and day between Wayne Rooney when we interviewed him. Well, when Chris McCarty interviewed him for the score uh, down at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel last year, is almost like night and day. He looked out of shape. He looked um, he looked like a man that had been enjoying retirement. That's what he looked like. His interview wasn't quite as flowing, very open, even off air as well. Like he's a really nice guy, top guy, and everything. But I think you're right. I think over this last year, he's really worked on his approach to punditry and the right things to say and when to say them. And I think the best thing that he did was start that podcast because it's given him
yeah,
an outlet for him to do this on a regular basis. And obviously, the more practice that you have, like playing professional football, the more minutes on the pitch, the better that you get at it. So yeah, he's done well to get to where he is. I'm still a bit. I'm not sure how it's going to work or whether it will go past one series with Mark Goldbridge, but it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic works out because it could be explosive, put it that way.
yeah.
And with that bombshell, I would like to thank you, Mr. Ahmad, for being back on the podcast. I've missed you, mate.
No, me see
Um,
that.
it's I know you've got your busy life in Luxembourg now, doing all your bits, but yeah, it's when you can make it on, it's always a pleasure, mate. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, I would love to come on even more, but just times clashes, and
We get it.
maybe this season. Let's see. Depends how United are doing. If
Yeah,
we're doing really bad, I'm gonna have to come on to vent. So
exactly.
let's hope I'm not on that much.
I've got you penciled in for the Carrick has been sacked on January 7th. So if you can't do that one, just let me
Emergency
know. Okay.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right then. That's the end of another Fergie's Gum. Thanks again to Ahmad for being on the show. If you haven't checked out the Danny Simpson exclusive interview that we had, do go and check that one out as well. I'm off to take a nice break and a nice holiday for a week, but we will be back again in, I think, 10 days' time. So come on, United, and let's beat Hull.